Welcome to Ask DRTK, and today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new microphone from Shure. It's the MV7X Broadcast Dynamic Microphone. Let's check it out. Now, all the audio in this review, tests, and microphone comparisons will be done without processing, so you're going to hear the MV7X and all of the other microphones as they come out of the box. I'll have them connected directly into my Focusrite Scarlett 8i6, and I'll have information in the lower thirds about the gain that's being applied to each microphone. And you should also know that Shure did not send me this microphone. I purchased it myself. This review is my own opinions. This is not a sponsored video, nor will there be affiliate links. And in this video, I'll be unboxing the Shure MV7X. Then we'll take a look at the features and specifications for this microphone. Then we'll go ahead and do some physical tests, plosives, background rejection, and more. Then I'll compare it to a variety of other microphones so you can get an idea how it performs against other dynamic mics, as well as a couple of large diaphragm condenser microphones. Finally, I'll wrap up with a demonstration with processed audio on the MV7, so you get an idea of what the microphone's flexibility is in terms of processing, and then some final thoughts. So let's unbox the MV7X. The packaging on this microphone looks to be very nice. I mean, it's a consumer product, so they've done a little bit extra to give you a nice experience here in the packaging. We'll go ahead and slit this open. And after giving a little bit of a hard time, I managed to get the package open. We'll go ahead and slide out the inner box. And so the outer shell is giving some additional protection here. We'll go ahead. This is a more solid cardboard, so we'll get that opened up. And inside, first of all, we have kind of a foam packaging piece over the top, I guess, to protect the microphone. A little bit of labeling, again, consumer nature of this product. So we'll go ahead and open this up. Inside, there's a molded container that holds the microphone. There's also some leaflets in the side here. We'll go ahead and pull this all out just so I can get to it. There's also a thread adapter for the microphone in this box here. We'll just leave that to the side. And then looking at the included items, there seems to be a warranty here. There's some specs and use information. So typically what you would see. And then we have the microphone itself. So we'll go ahead and open this up. The microphone's actually fairly light. For anyone that's used to or have seen an SM7B, this is certainly a lot lighter than that microphone. So we'll go ahead and just take the tag off of it. But nonetheless, it does seem to be well built. It's all metal construction. As you can see, it has an XLR connector on the back. That's all you get. Capsule design reminiscent of a 7B, a little shorter design on the foam windscreen, and of course the yoke. Now we'll take a look at the features and specifications of the Shure MV7X. This is the dynamic microphone with a moving coil design and has a cardioid pickup pattern. It has a frequency response of 50 to 16,000 hertz. A sensitivity of -55 dB with an impedance of 252 ohms. Max SPL is rated at 132 decibels, and it weighs in at 550 grams. And now I'm on the Shure MV7X. I have it connected directly into my Focusrite Scarlett 8i6. I have the gain set at 3 o'clock. No processing applied to this microphone, as all tests and comparisons in this video, again, will have no processing applied to them. First impression in my in-ear monitoring sounds pretty decent, actually, but let's go ahead and do the physical tests. Now we'll go ahead and we'll test the plosives on this microphone, first with the included pop filter. People, because. And definitely getting plosives through there. There's been a lot of reports of the windscreen on the MV7, the original one, not being so great, and I think this one's basically the same thing. Let's try it also with a pop filter in front. People, because. And yeah, that basically cleans that all up, so we can see that's one way of doing it. Now, I'm also going to test it with the windscreens from the SM7B. That seems to be a popular hack people are using on the MV7. So we'll go ahead and take the included one off. And now I have the standard pop filter from the SM7B on here. People, because. Yeah, that definitely performs better. You got to think that this windscreen is quite a bit longer, so it keeps you further away from the capsule. And I'll take that one off, and I'll also put the large plosive windscreen on. People, because. And again, this is really stopping the plosives from getting through. It's all about the look with these microphones for many of you. I know that this whole kind of podcasting, broadcast mic look is a big thing. And so I know many of you don't want to put a traditional pop filter in front of this, but this just gives you an idea of some of the options and hacks that people are doing with the original MV7. They'll probably work with the MV7X. And of course, the more pop filter you put in front of the capsule, the more it's going to color the sound. So you'll have to decide what's the best option for you with the MV7. This mic isn't bad. I mean, if you're talking a cross axis like I have here, you can get away probably without using anything other than the included pop filter. But again, some really like the look on the MV7 of the original SM7B filter. So that's an option. Now we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the handling noise. And so I'll tap on the microphone on the yoke. And I'll tap. And that definitely picked up a lot of noise from the microphone as well as the boom arm. Very different than the experience with the SM7B. It's nearly silent when you move it around. So if you have this on a boom arm and you move the boom, you're likely to get into some noise coming through. Same thing would apply if you're using it on a desk stand. You may be able to clean that up with a noise reduction plugin in your audio chain, either for live stream or recording. But out of the box, this definitely suffers from handling noise. Now we'll test the proximity effect as well as distance on this microphone. So I'll get up very close on the capsule and I'll talk this way to engage the proximity effect, and we'll see if in fact how much we get out of that. You can definitely hear it in my ears. Now I'll back off. And I'm at about 6 inches away from the microphone right now. This is the sound you're going to get. If I move back, I'm at about a foot away from the microphone, and this is the kind of sound that the MV7 is going to produce. Now I've turned the microphone to be facing me a little more. This is 2 feet away. This is the sound you get out of the MV7. And now I'm back at about 3 feet away from this microphone. Dynamic mics really aren't designed to be used at this distance, but it'll give you an idea of how much noise it picks up from distance. And while adjusting the microphone for that distance test, I thought I should point out that the yoke does not have a swivel nut on the end of it, so it basically just threads onto your boom arm however it sits. I have an extra nut installed on the boom arm here so that I can tighten it up at any angle, but it's not like the 7B where you have a swivel nut on the end that's really convenient so that you can align the microphone however you like. Now I'll go ahead and I'll test the background noise rejection for you. So I'm typing away on my keyboard in the background here, and I just want you to hear while I'm talking how much keyboard noise it'll pick up. I think it did a pretty good job of rejecting that noise. Again, if you're using this for streaming, you probably use noise reduction plugins, something like that. But out of the box, actually not too bad. And the last physical test I'm going to do is the off-axis rejection test. So let's go ahead. Right now I'm talking into the middle of the microphone right from the front. We'll turn it. Now I'm at about 90 degrees to the microphone. This is how it sounds. Now directly into the back of the microphone. And here's what you get. Now the other side at 90 degrees. This is the sound. And I actually found that to have a very sharp drop off in accepting sound at the sides at the 90 degree. So cardioid, I normally expect a little more lobe of sensitivity around the front, but this was pretty narrow actually for cardioid pattern. Nothing really much coming out of the back. So, I mean, that could be good. That'll help reject noise to the side if you got a loud PC running, anything like that. But be aware that you're going to want to be fairly on axis with this microphone. If you tend to deviate side to side too much, the sound's probably going to drop off pretty quick. Now let's go ahead and compare this new microphone to a few other microphones. We'll choose a variety of broadcast dynamic microphones, handheld dynamic. We'll also throw a couple of condenser microphones on here. And we'll see ultimately how it performs in a room. Just so you get an idea, this is a standard size room I'm in. I do have sound treatment on the walls in this space, none on the ceiling, so I would call this a moderately treated space. But to give you kind of a point of reference of where I'm testing this microphone. So first up, here we are on the Shure MV7. I have it connected directly into my Focusrite Scarlett 8i6. I have the gain set at 3 o'clock. There's no processing applied to this microphone. This is what it sounds like out of the box. Now let's go ahead and test out another broadcast dynamic. And now I'm on the Audio Technica AT2040. This is another pretty new broadcast dynamic microphone. I have it plugged directly into the 8i6, gain set at 330, no processing on this microphone. This is what you get out of the box. I'm actually giving away one of these microphones complete with a Focusrite Scarlett 4i4 and an XLR cable. See the note in the pinned comment below so you can find out how to enter that. And this is how it is. So if you like this one, this is the AT2040. And now you're listening to me again on the MV7X, still on the Focusrite Scarlett 8i6, gain at 3 o'clock, no processing. Now we'll go ahead, we'll switch over to another broadcast dynamic microphone. Okay, and now I'm on the Rode Podmic. This is a little bit less expensive than the MV7X, a really popular microphone with YouTubers, podcasters, great build quality. This is what it sounds like. I have it connected into the Scarlett 8i6 again. No processing on this microphone. I have the gain turned up to about 330. Needs a little more gain than the MV7X, but nothing crazy. This is what it sounds like. And again, I'm back on the Shure MV7X. Nothing has changed with the interface, no processing. This is the sound again as it is out of the box. We'll go ahead and throw another dynamic broadcast microphone up here for comparison. And now you're hearing me on the Tascam TM70, another very new broadcast dynamic microphone. Sits in that $100 price range right along with the Podmic and the AT2040. How do you like the sound of this one? It's on the Scarlett 8i6. Again, I have the gain about 230 now on this microphone. No processing applied. This is what Tascam's answer is to the $100 broadcast dynamic mic. And once again on the MV7X, nothing has changed. Everything is as I left it. Just trying to give you an idea of the sound of the MV7 in between the other microphones. I just don't want to go from one mic to the next. I think you really need to hear the MV7 back to back against. And of course, because this is a full review, I'm not doing a side-by-side switching back and forth. I definitely will have some comparisons to other microphones coming up soon with this microphone back and forth for a little more direct comparison. But for the purposes of this review, I just want you to get an idea of the sound of a few different microphones, where the MV7 fits in, and maybe it'll help you decide if it's right for you. And I'm on the Presonus PD-70. This is another broadcast dynamic microphone and a little bit lower price point than the NV7, but again, very close. Have this one connected directly into the 8i6. Gain here is about 315, just a little bit less than the AT2040 we heard before this. And no processing on this microphone. This is another one that's really has that look. You got like the SM7B is one thing. You got the look of this new MV7X. The Presonus also fits right in with that look, so if look's important, this could be another option for you. This is what it sounds like out of the box. And here I am back on the MV7. Nothing has changed, no processing, sound out of the box. Let's go ahead and throw one more broadcast dynamic on. Okay, and this is a comparison you're probably waiting for. This is the Shure SM7B. I have this connected directly up to the Scarlett 8i6. I have the gain set at about 430. This microphone definitely needs a lot more to drive it. No processing applied here, and I'm not using a cloud lifter. I didn't want to bias anything by giving one microphone an edge over the other, so this is directly into the interface. SM7B, this is the sound. Compare it, see what you think. Is this worth 3 times the price almost of the MV7? Let me know. So now that we've had a few dynamic broadcast microphones to compare it to, I'll throw one handheld dynamic on. So it's going to be the Sennheiser XS1. And now I'm on the Sennheiser XS1. This is a handheld dynamic microphone. I've got it connected directly into the Scarlett 8i6. Gain set at 3 o'clock. No processing applied. I thought it'd be interesting again to check this out, see what it's like. This is about $50. It's how Sennheiser does affordable microphones. How does it sound versus the MV7X? Does the 7X sound 3 times better than this one? And once again, back on the Shure MV7X. Nothing has changed. Focusrite 8i6. Gain at 3 o'clock, no processing. Now let's go ahead and throw a couple of large diaphragm condenser microphones into the comparison. We'll start out with the Audio-Technica AT2020. And here we are on the Audio-Technica AT2020. This is a very popular microphone with podcasters, YouTubers. This is a large diaphragm condenser, so I've got it connected into the Scarlett 8i6 using 48 volts of phantom power. Gain set only about 11 o'clock on this microphone, and again, no processing. What do you think of the sound of a large diaphragm condenser versus all the dynamic microphones we've heard so far? Now that you've had a chance to hear the Audio-Technica AT2020, I'm back on the MV7X again. Let's do one more large diaphragm condenser. This time it's going to be the MXL 990 Blaze Edition. And I'm on the MXL 990 Blaze Edition large diaphragm condenser microphone. I have this one connected up to the Scarlett 8i6. Again, 48 volts phantom power here. Gain set at about 11 o'clock, no processing. Another microphone with a unique look, might have the cool factor for your stream, YouTube channel. Depends again on what you're going for, but I wanted to include this one just so you could compare another microphone that slightly lower price point than the MV7X. See if this one works for you. And so a number of microphones in comparison here: broadcast dynamics, handheld, large condenser. What did you think? Is the MV7X the sound for you? Is it the microphone you're looking for? Did you hear something in one of the other ones perhaps you liked a little better? Very subjective in terms of sound. I mean, the look is the look. And again, I know broadcast dynamics have become really an important look for online video, YouTube, etc. But the sound is what it is. So I'd be really interested to hear from you in the comments what you think of this microphone compared to some of the others. Now that we've heard a number of comparisons with unprocessed audio, I'm going to go ahead and give you a demonstration of what some processing can do with this microphone. Now, none of this processing will be specifically tailored to the mic. Normally, if I'm going to set up a processing chain, what I'll do is consider my voice, the microphone, and the room, and I'll make some measurements, and then I'll go ahead and set it up. But I'll save that for my tutorial videos where I go through exactly how to process dialogue. But for this example, I'll just use a few of the preset effects in iZotope's Neutron 3. And now we have Neutron 3 started up here. Right now we're on the podcast preset. So this is the podcast preset in Neutron 3. You're hearing the MV7, otherwise still connected up to the Focusrite 8i6. Have the gain still set at 3 o'clock. This is a very mild amount of processing, a little bit of EQ and compression here. Now we'll switch over to another preset. This is the loud broadcast voiceover preset. And the idea here, of course, is to give you a lot of presence so it can get you up over some background noise or music. So a lot of times that's the application for something like this. Again, none of these presets are tailored to my voice, this microphone in the room, but I'm trying to give you a range of processing to give you just some idea, at least, of the flexibility of this microphone for processing. And finally, I'll go to Big Broadcast. And so now I'm on Big Broadcast, and as you can imagine, you see this large bass boost going on in here, trying to give you that really deep bass sound here. I'm 6 inches away. We know we can get that with proximity effect, but it again just depends where you're going to have the microphone in the frame. Depends on the sound you like. Did you like any of this processed audio? Do you prefer the unprocessed sound? Let me know in the comments. Of course, it's always better to tailor the processing to the mic, voice, and room, but at least this gives you some idea. And now we're back with unprocessed audio here on the MV7X. And I have to say that after the tests, I think this microphone fared fairly well. It did definitely a decent job of the plosive rejection. I actually was surprised with the included windscreen. There's been so much complaining about the MV7 and plosives. So, it held its own against, I think, what some of the other microphones have done in my experience. Certainly can be improved with a few adjustments on the pop filter. Handling noise, big problem for me. I didn't like that. I thought this picked up a lot of background noise. So if you're going to bump that desk, you have to be aware that it's going to get through into the sound. Otherwise, audio tests, again, very subjective. I think it did fare, again, reasonably well against the other microphones. Don't expect this to sound exactly like the SM7B. It's not the SM7B. You can see why you pay a little more money for that. The sound, the handling noise, there's all kinds of things that add up to the 7B being a little bit better microphone than this one. But for the price, I think pretty decent. Has the look I think a lot of people are going for. So I would say, yeah, get it if you like the sound of it. If you like the sound of some of the other ones better, there are less expensive options, more expensive options. So see what you think. And if you're looking to purchase a broadcast dynamic microphone, check out this comparison of 2 other popular broadcast dynamic mics that were in this video. As always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.